Hey guys, welcome to the next episode here. I feel like I'm in a little bit of a groove here, and I'm really enjoying putting this channel together and making these videos for you. Today, we're featuring the t-shirt of People's Records in Detroit. Now, before we talk about that, if you're not sure what that means, is I'm a music store owner, but I'm a music record vinyl collector first. Like, that's first. I love buying records. I like to sell records, but I love buying records. And I love visiting record stores. And I love visiting mom and pop record stores. And I love the non-corporate vibe, meaning that each record store has the owner's personality, at least to a certain degree or a certain level, right? Absolutely love that. So what I'm trying to do on my show is wear a t-shirt from a record store that I have visited and try to do a different t-shirt every time. Now, I'm going to run out of t-shirts soon, so if you have a record store and you'd like me to feature you on my videos here, send me a t-shirt. Reach out in the comments. I'll get a hold of you. I'll tell you how to ship it to me. And send me a t-shirt. Not only will I wear it on the video, but I'll wear it in my store. And if I make it to your town, I'll definitely stop in. Or tell me how to buy one. Send me a link. Put a link in the comments of how I can go online and buy a shirt, because I want to support your stores as well. I believe that we kind of got to all stick together in this, because it's one of the last pieces of the world that is done that used to be done. Like, we're changing everything, guys, and the record industry is changing as well. People buy stuff online. They think that if they buy it from the artist's website, they're supporting the artist more than if they would if they bought it in the store. We'll do a video on that one day, but that's not necessarily true. So it is changing, but there's still that element of us, the independent store guys out there, that are doing it the way it's been done for 50, 60, 70 years. So I like to support the record store. So today we got People's Records in Detroit, Michigan. Now, these guys are downtown. Like, they're right down in the city of Detroit. And the cool thing about them, I mean, every record store has a lot of cool things about them, but there's a couple things that stick out in my mind when I went to visit. Number one is the memorabilia that's on the walls, and it's mostly Detroit music-related memorabilia. Newspaper articles, newspaper clippings, reviews of records, stuff like that. Then there's photographs. There's all kinds of pictures of some of the Motown people back in the day, stuff that I've never seen. And I grew up in Detroit, and I've done a lot of Motown documentaries and reading and stuff, and I had never seen some of this stuff. And so, you know, there's just all this memorabilia on the wall, ticket stubs. Anyway, it's just really cool. Show posters, promoting shows. It's just really cool. Their walls are really awesome. The other thing that's kind of struck out is, well, okay, I'll say this first. They had listening stations. Not a lot of record stores do listening stations anymore. We do at our store, but this place had a listening station. That was super cool. But the other thing is, if you're looking for 45's, 7-inch records, the little record with the big hole, man, they are from the floor to the ceiling, and these guys got a high ceiling. Now, I last visited there, the last time I went to visit my mom up in Michigan, so that was before I kind of got back into the swing of this channel. So yes, I bought a t-shirt, but I didn't take any pictures or anything because I didn't have the idea yet of A, doing my channel, getting it fired back up and doing it again, and B, I didn't have the idea of starting each show promoting someone else's record store. So I don't really have anything to show you of this store, but I'm going to show you a quick picture that I found online of their wall of 45s. So check this out. So, as you can probably imagine, today's show is going to be about 45s. I just pulled out, you know, a handful of my all-time favorite 45s, and I want to give you the whys. The whys, the whys, the whys. All right, we're going to kick it off with an independent artist. This is Strut. The Almighty Strut is what they were known as. And then later years, they shortened it to just Strut. They are Detroit independent rock band out of the 80s. The band consists of, I can tell you this because it's on the back of the 45 here, right? So you got DC Still, Gunnar Ross, Jimmy James, and Earl Lee. And so this is put out in 1986. And it's a song about summertime. And I tell you what, people in Michigan love their summer times. So there's side 2 and there's side 1. And it is the same song on both sides. Produced by Gary Spagnola. He's kind of a Detroit legend. Bittersweet Alley was one of his bands, but he did a lot of production work for a lot of other people as well. So, yeah, this is a summer after I graduated. So this is my first summer of pretty much not having to think about going. Well, no, it would have been my second summer of not having to think about going back to school afterwards. But I remember that summer well, and I remember this song very well. And I still play this song quite a bit, and this is one of my favorite 45s to have. Total indie, total indie. Don't know if it has any value or not. I really don't know. Probably there's some Detroit people that like to get their hands on it, but super cool record. All right, next up, we've got, totally going to change gears on you here, but we've got on Liberty Records, the Chipmunks song with the Chipmunks and the music of David Seville. Now, why is this one cool to me? So, I was a little boy, and this was my grandmother's. This was my grandmother's record, and she would play this at Christmas time, right? And one year I remember telling her how much I liked this song. And man, this is like, oh, so long ago. It's hard to remember all the details. But I just remember just loving the song and mentioning it to my grandma. And she gave me this 45. To my recollection, this is the first 45 that I ever owned. Because I wasn't even collecting or buying records yet. I don't even know if I knew how to play it. This thing is an OG. Like this was bought by my grandmother when the song was released on the chart. So this is an OG. It is beat to the band. I don't know if you can see that. It's not scratched and scuffed. It's just wore out because I wore this thing out as a little guy. And yeah. So my first 45, if this thing was meant, it'd have a little bit of value because it is the OG. But it's not anywhere near to mint. I've since converted it to digital so I can hear the record the way it sounded to me as a child with all the scratches and snaps and crackles and pops without having to play the record and add to it, right? So I do that once in a while at Christmas time. I'll play the MP3 file of this actual record being recorded. But anyway, this is way up there on my list of my favorite 45s. Alvin and the Chipmunks, the Christmas song. I think it came out in, what, 57, 58? I should have done my homework on that before the show. Now, I wasn't born that long ago, so I probably got this handed off to me in the early 70s when I was old enough to walk and talk and know what a record was. So, to my knowledge, my first 45, my first record, is this one right here, and I still own it. Super cool. All right, next up, we got a twofer. Now, my father-in-law and my mother-in-law, they had some records at their house, and they were cleaning out underneath their house, and they come across a box of these 45s, and they brought them to me and just kind of handed them off to me. And most of them were worn pretty well, and so I got to talking to her. Her name's Kathy, and she's like, yeah, my brother. These were my brother's, most of them, and he would take them to parties, and they would play these records at parties all the time. So there's a whole box of records. I've gone through each one of them. I've cataloged them. I've converted them to digital, so I have them backed up and saved. But I just wanted to show a couple of them, just random ones. It's not particularly the 45 in this case that is high up there on my list. It's just the idea of this whole box of 45s coming to me. I remember one time they came over and visited with us after they had given me the box, and we'd come downstairs to my music room, the room I'm in right now, and I'd mentioned that, hey, I've been going through these things, and it's really cool, and thank you very much. And then we sat here, and we played some of them, and they're like, man, I haven't heard these 45s in decades. So that's kind of a cool memory for me as well. So I'll just show you a couple of them, and you can see the name on them. Okay, yeah, they put their name on a little piece of tape and put it on there. So this is Elvis, and I had to do an Elvis one because, well, my wife's last name is, before she married me, was Presley. Very cool. And Kathy, stepmom, is, or not stepmom, I'm sorry, mother-in-law, actually has seen Elvis. Mother-in-law has actually seen Elvis live in concert in her life. So I had to show you one of the Elvis ones that she gave me. And then another one's just a random one. But again, it's got the name on it. And then on the back, it's got her actual name on it, not her brother's. I don't know if you can see that, but it says Kathy on there. And that's Wild Thing from the Trogs. So there's two more for you that are special to me on my list of 45s. And we're talking about 45s on the show today. People's Records in Detroit, they have all kinds of 45s. We got 45s and soundtracks as well. We have a whole room set up of 45s. All right, on to the next one. This one is cool to me. This was one of my dad's favorite ELO songs, but this one is cool. My dad actually bought this. He gave this to me in later years when they got rid of the records. And it's the Purple 45. Now, this wasn't as big of a deal. I shouldn't say this wasn't as common back in 1978, 79 when this record, 78 when this record came out as it is today. Today they do it all the time. Usually it's like, an alternative copy or a collector's edition or a reissue or whatever. But this one actually came out originally on the purple vinyl. And my dad bought this, and it was one of his favorite songs from ELO, especially on that album. And then in later years, he handed off the records to me, and this was one of the records that he handed off. So that one's always special to my heart. All right, these next two are special to my heart, and they're highly collectible as well. So we've got an original, an OG Sun Records Johnny Cash with Come In Stranger on one side, and I guess things happen that way on the other side. And then another OG Sun Records Johnny Cash with Big River and Ballad of a Teenage Queen. Now, why are these cool to me? Well, the same grandma that gave me the album in the Chipmunks 45, these belong to her. Now, she didn't give these to me. These found their way to me after they passed away. My mom was able to get her hands on them and said, you know, I thought you should have these. And it's just super cool that my mom thought of me in that way. What makes these super cool to me is I'm going to put my hand on it, and you can see right there, it says Fred Murray. So that was my uncle, my mom's brother. That was my uncle's record, Ballad of a Teenage Queen from Johnny Cash. Now this one says Johnny and Edna right there above my finger, if you can see that. So that was my grandparents. That's my grandma, my nanny, I called her, was Edna, and my pa was Johnny. Big John. Big John, they call him. He's a big boy. You didn't mess with him. Tennessee. They come from Tennessee. And so this was their record when it was out, when it was a hit, when it was originally released. They owned this 45. It's an OG 45. And I probably was put down for naps to these records many times in my life because some of my earliest memories is laying on this big black vinyl couch, cold couch in the wintertime, and being laid down for naps with music playing on the console record player. And you could stack a stack of 45s and put the thing on it. It would drop them and play them. So I was probably put to nap or even to bed on a Friday and Saturday when my mom would be over there playing cards with them to these records at some point in my life. And then to actually end up with them afterwards. Pretty cool. So if I ever sell my entire collection, these will be pulled out, and these will be given to my son if he wants them, and he can keep them in the family. Have no idea what they're worth. I know they're valuable because they are OGs. They're in okay shape. They're going to play through without any skips, but they're scratchly. They were played. They weren't collected. They were played, and they were played with a purpose, right? But just so cool to have those. All right, so that's those two. All right, so I don't think you can do a 45 show without talking about the Beatles. So this is the first Beatles record I ever owned. This is Get Back with Don't Let Me Down. And actually, as a kid, I didn't know what was cool. I didn't know what was hot. I didn't know what was happening. I actually liked Don't Let Me Down better than Get Back when I was growing up. But you can see I put my name on there. Because in later years, I DJ'd a lot. And I take these records with me. And I wanted to make sure, that everybody knew what was mine, right? Because I started out doing house parties in like 7th grade. So, yeah, you want to make sure that you come home with your records, right? So that one has survived the years and survived the times. And can't talk about 45s without talking about the Beatles. And that's the first Beatles 45 that I've ever owned. All right, so we've talked about my uncle and my grandparents and that. Well, here's one that my mom owned before she was even married to my dad. And I'm only assuming that, but I think it to be true because it's a Dwayne Eddy record. And the name on it is Brenda and Gail. So that's her sister. So I don't think she would have co-owned a record after she was married and moved out, right? It'd be very hard to share that with your sister if you're married and moved out. So I always thought that was super cool. Now there's something here, and I have no idea. I've never been able to figure out through the years what that actually says. I should probably take it to my mom and show her. I wonder if she even remembers. I wonder if she sees this video, if she'll see that and remember what that says. But yeah, it's Dwayne Eddy, Mason-Dixon Lion on one side, and the Cannonball, that was the hit side, on the other side. Dwayne Eddy, and it was my mom's, and that's my mom's handwriting. So it's actually absolutely my mom's handwriting. So she wrote that. So that was co-owned by her and her sister. So that was valuable to me as well. And again, when my folks gave up their records and gave them to me, this was in there, and this will be in the family forever. All right, this next one's got a little bit of a personal thing. It didn't come to me from family. This is one that I actually went to the store and bought. This song was released on Valentine's Day, 1983. Valentine's Day, 1983. It is one of the most I'm breaking up with you. This love affair is over. It's done. Songs ever written by anybody. And yet it comes out on Valentine's Day, and it comes out on red vinyl. Okay, so you gotta love Tom Petty, right? So here we go. We've got the red vinyl original release of Change of Heart from Tom Petty and the Heartbreakers. And on the flip side is what was that? Heartbreakers Beach Party. So they just did a documentary of that. I think it was Netflix. It was either Netflix or Amazon. They did they released that Heartbreakers Beach Party. Finally, after all these years, they finally released it. But that wasn't on the album. It was just on the flip side of this 45. So there it is. That's it right there. His futuristic Western cowboy thing. He did a video with that theme from You Got Lucky as well. That was the album that it was on. You Got Lucky was the first single. This was the second single, released February 14th, 1983 on red vinyl, and it's not a love song. It's a This Love Is Over song. Anyway, that's one of my favorite ones. All right, this next one is me and my best friend. Me and my best friend, we used to play a lot of football in the streets, street football with the boys in the neighborhoods, and he was really good. Like, he could catch anything. You know, I didn't have the best arm, but I'd be the quarterback. He'd be the wide receiver, and I'd just throw the ball up, and he'd come down with it. And he'd come down with it every time, it seemed like. And we were beating kids that, you know, were 3 or 4 years older than us. We were 13, 14 years old. We were beating these kids that are 16, 17 years old. We were an unstoppable pair. So much so that he kind of got the name in the neighborhood as Lucky Lampkin, because his last name is Lampkin. So he kind of got the name as Lucky Lampkin, because they couldn't accept the fact that, you know, this 13, 14-year-old boy was beating him, right? So they had to call him Lucky Lampkin. But he wore it with pride, and it kind of stuck to this day. We still, sometimes I'll call him that once in a while. If he calls me up and tells me something happened to him, blah, blah, blah. I'm like, well, you know, dude, you always were Lucky Lampkin. So this song comes out by Foghat during this time frame. What year is this? 1979? 1979, so yeah, 13 years old. And this song comes out called Third Time Lucky by Foghat. So I buy the 45, and I get it home, and look, he puts his name on it. So it's my record, but he puts his name on it as well. I sent him this when I was going through my 45s, and I was backing them all up to digital. I sent him a picture of this. I'm like, hey, dude, I guess you kind of claimed this record as well. So anyway, Lucky Lampkin on the football field, me and my best friend. And then in later years, I found the picture sleeve of it. So I did not have this. This is the one we grew up with. We used to play all the time. We play it usually as we're getting ready to go play football, right? But I come up with the picture sleeve as well. So that was kind of cool to me as well. So again, these are not the most collectible. They're not the top sellers. These are the ones that are special to me through the years. Some of my top 45s in my collection, and the reasons why. All right, so this next one, we got another indie band out of Detroit, a group by the name of Flash Cajon. So Flash Cajon. So they released this song written by Doug Cajon, 1985. They used to play the crap out of this at WRIF and WLLZ, and it was One at a Time. It's basically a Detroit attitude, chip on your shoulder, don't mess with me kind of thing, because I'm going to kick your butt one at a time, right, kind of song. And, you know, it's a good pump-up song, and if you're getting ready to go and play some football or something, you know, it's a good get in your face, you're going skating or whatever, you know, it's a good hype song, right? So this is the 45 when the record was actually released. I went out and bought this at Harmony House, so I've had this since 1985. Yeah, 1985. I've had this since then. So that's it. That's the sleeve. That's the record that it came in. That is the actual record. Well, then in later years, I stumbled across a DJ promotional record company promotional copy of the ballad Special Girl. So Special Girl on both sides. All right, and that's kind of cool because, well, you know, you make mixtapes for girls and stuff, and that would usually end up on it. Every girl was a special girl until you found the special girl, right? Anyway, Bill, my friend I just talked about a minute ago, a little more guilty of that than me. We put this on pretty much all his mixtapes. So anyway, it's Special Girl. I think the only one I ever really played that when I was hanging out with was the woman I actually ended up marrying. I'm pretty sure of that. And I'm not just trying to save face here. I'm pretty sure that I actually am. Because when the song came out, I really didn't have a girlfriend at the time. And then I met my wife shortly thereafter. And when we were dating, I would play this for her a lot. So, Flash Cajon, Detroit, indie rock. Capitol Records, signed to a major label. Never really got big outside of Detroit. I don't know that they ever did a second record. Honestly, I don't know. Saw them at a bar in Windsor one time. Drinking age was lower in Windsor than it was Detroit. They were playing a bar. We got to go see these guys at a bar in Windsor one time. So I did get to see them live. That's super cool. All right, so the next one on my list, this one's special to me because this was my wedding song. But it's also a great song. So Like a Rock, Bob Seger and the Silver Bullet Band. This album comes out And there's so many stories I could tell about this album. Like the day the album came out, the radio stations played the album all the way through. So I remember sitting in the parking lot of the roller skating rink that my wife, which wasn't my wife at the time, but my wife and I worked at, and listening to the entire album on the radio before I even had bought it. Like a Rock, as soon as it came out, it made me think of my dad. You know, it just reminded me of my dad. Now I look at it and I look back and like 20 years, where'd they go? It's like, are you kidding me? It was 40 years, where'd they go? So anyway, great song. You know, and then everyone knows the story about how, you know, they someone mentioned something to Bob Seger in a bar in Detroit, like, hey, dude, why don't you do something to try to help the car industry? They're hurting right now. And he's like, I don't sell out. I don't sell out. And I'm like, yeah, but it's not really selling out. You are Detroit, you know, that kind of thing. And so he decided to let Chevy use the Like a Rock, and that went on for like, I think it was 14 years they used that. And it was one of the biggest campaigns that Chevy's ever done. As a matter of fact, I have a late 90s square body, and on the front license plate, I have a Michigan license plate that says Like a Rock on it, because that's the Like a Rock years. But that's not why this 45 is special to me. This 45 is special to me because the flip side is Living Inside My Heart. And that was mine and my wife's wedding song, Living Inside My Heart by Bob Seger. That song was featured in the movie About Last Night with Demi Moore and Rob Lowe. I think it came out in '86. Wife and I went and saw that at the midnight show. We got out of work at the roller rink, and there was a movie theater like a mile over at the little strip mall. And we got out of work, and we went and we saw that movie. And that song was in that movie, and I'm like, I gotta find this song. And it was on the flip side of Like a Rock, so we bought the 45, and this was played at our wedding. And I'm 99% sure it was this actual copy. I don't think we recorded it onto tape. We may have. Yeah, I think we took this record, put it on the tape, because the church had a tape player. They didn't have a record player, so we played it on the tape. But it was played at our wedding. If you could hear the audio in our wedding video, this is a long time ago, man, you'd hear this song, but it's really hard to pick up the audio in there. We just don't have the technology to bring that back yet, because it's almost not there. But anyway, Like a Rock. So that one's a really special 45 to me as well. So a quick story about some of my favorite 45s. Just thought it would be a fun show to do. People's Records, they have all kinds of 45s there in Detroit. Next time I get up, maybe I'll do some pictures inside or some video inside if they let me. And again, if you're a record store, tell me how to get one of your t-shirts. Tell me where you're at. I'll try to get to your store and visit you. And thanks for watching the channel. Thanks for supporting the channel. And give us a like. Give us a follow, ring the bell, all those things, you know. Keep in touch with what's going on here on the Shokjok channel on YouTube. Now, don't forget, we got the vinyl show that happens every Tuesday at 2 p.m. Eastern Time, and that's where we play these records. We back them up to digital, and we play them on the radio show. It's 2 o'clock Eastern Time on Claris Radio. And then we've got the Soundtracks new release show on Rock Rage Radio, and that happens Wednesday nights at 11 p.m. You can check both of those out, and then check out my Whatnot page as well, and we'll sell some of this stuff. Not none of this stuff today, I promise you I will not sell that stuff, but we'll sell, you know, we got lots of records. We'll sell some records to you on Whatnot from time to time as well. All right, keep watching, keep rocking. We'll see you soon.